Aloy, glad you made it back okay. She panicked after waking up and stumbled down here. I thought it best to wait for you.
I'll talk to her. Hello? It's Beta, right? My name's Aloy. What's wrong? Is it your injury?
Simulacrum withdrawal syndrome.
I don't understand.
Sudden removal of a neurologically integrated data device. The brain, especially the cerebellum, goes into a kind of sensory freefall. Everything real feels unreal. Distant.
Is there anything that can help?
Do you have a focus to spare? It's primitive, but I can make it work.
Yeah.
Booting up. So, Aloy, I suppose you want information.
About you and the Zeniths? Yeah. Why are they here? What do they want? How did they get you? But let's start at the beginning. I'm guessing they faked the destruction of their ship 1,000 years ago?
That seems consistent with their behavior. They wouldn't want to be followed.
So far, Zenith established a colony world after all.
Yes, for a few hundred years, but it didn't last. Some sort of natural disaster rendered it uninhabitable.
Okay, so the descendants of Far Zenith escaped a dying planet, and now they want to claim Earth for themselves?
Not their descendants.
What?
Not their descendants. It's them. The same ones who left Earth 1,000 years ago. You didn't know?
How
What?
can they still be alive? They don't even look... What did they do to themselves?
I believe it's a combination of pharmaceutical, cellular treatments, and technological implants.
And you? Does that mean that you were...
I'm not like them. I was made. On the way to Earth. On the ship. I spent years studying in my training interface, all so that I could serve my function.
Access and control of the terraforming system. But why? What do the Zeniths want with it?
When I discovered the Zero Dawn system had disseminated into its subcomponents, I thought my purpose was to fix it. But I don't think the Zeniths want that at all. I think they want to wipe Earth clean and start over.
Holy shit.
You said you were born on the way to Earth. In an artificial womb, I'm guessing?
The Zeniths had an ectogenic chamber aboard the ship. An updated version of the one you found me in. They must have used a stored sample of Elizabeth's DNA.
I doubt Elizabeth would have let them take her DNA. Do you know how they got it?
That wasn't part of the archive I was allowed to access.
You said you spent years studying in a training interface. Was this archive you mentioned part of that?
But only the parts I was permitted to access. Aristotle and Aspasia, the avatars of the archive, would assign me learning modules and evaluate my progress.
Wait, those names. They were designed to be the virtual guides for the Apollo database. Before Ted Faro purged it.
The Zeniths have a copy.
So it still exists. And you got to learn from it.
Only what was deemed pertinent to the mission. If I requested information outside of my parameters, my tutors would deny it.
To have all that knowledge, just out of reach. Must have been frustrating. How did you escape the Zeniths?
Before the Hades Proving Lab, I never thought I'd get away from them. Even if I were to run. I'd never survive on my own in the wilds. But then I saw you. And I thought that maybe you could help me. So when the Zeniths pinpointed Eluthia's location in the biomedical research facility, I saw an opportunity.
You said you saw an opportunity to escape when you went to capture Eleuthia. What did you do, exactly?
Whenever I was taken out on a mission to recover a subordinate function, only one of the Zeniths would go with me.
The one the rebels killed, outside the facility.
Baina's dead? How did they bypass her shield?
I'm looking into it. But you were talking about your escape?
Well, when it was time to use the Zenith's transmitter to send Eleuthia back to base, I also sent the encrypted transmission. Then I distracted Verbena long enough to seal myself in the ectogenic chamber, altering the facility's log so it appeared that there were only 236 containers.
And the Gaia root kernel?
I told them I could capture Eleuthia faster if I had it with me, and they believed me.
Well done. So the Zeniths want to exterminate life on Earth. That's what Gaia and I concluded too. But why? Why kill everyone just to take over?
When they took me on missions with them, I saw how they butchered the tribal people we encountered. They didn't seem to care about a rejuvenated Earth, so I concluded that they must want a hard reboot of the system. Then they can redesign it to be exactly what they want.
Mass extinction for their own comfort? Who thinks like that? Well, without their Gaia kernel, they'll have a hard time doing that. The Zeniths needed Elizabeth's gene print to access Zero Dawn facilities. So they made you. Trained you. And you went along with it?
They told me I was born to interface with the Zero Dawn system. When we reached Earth, I pieced together what must have happened to Gaia and her subordinate functions. That's when I started to realize I wasn't meant to fix Gaia. That they must have made me so I could do what their remote extinction signal failed to do. Reboot Earth for their own benefit.
Huh. I don't know yet. That's what we're trying to find out.
So you know about the extinction signal?
It was speculation, but the only logical conclusion why Gaia suddenly self-destructed after operating efficiently for centuries. Gaia would have only undertaken such a desperate course of action if it had detected a threat to life on Earth that was more dangerous than ceasing function altogether. I should have realized that she would also order the recreation of Elizabeth Sobek to rebuild her.
Yeah, well, surprise. So we're dealing with the same Far Zenith people who once lived on Earth. What else do you know about them?
They were some of the most affluent and powerful people on Earth. They controlled almost every major resource, every industry. Gerard commands them. He's the one who decided to set up a base. The others, Eric, Tilda, Verbena, they resent his authority over them, but in the end, they always do what he says.
Eric. He's the one I fought back in the Hades Proving Lab.
He enjoys hurting people.
Yeah, I know. You mentioned the Zeniths set up a base here on Earth. Where is it?
Off the coast, I think. Whenever I had to go on missions, I was transported inside of a Spectre drone. I couldn't see anything outside. But I did overhear the Zeniths talking about it once. They were discussing setting up a perimeter energy shield to repel the local fauna. I'm certain they have other security measures. Spectre patrols, machine lures. It must be impregnable.
What's inside the base?
Launch facilities, so they can shuttle back and forth to their ship in orbit. Plus infrastructure to gather materials and fabricate anything they need.
Are there more Zeniths than the ones you met?
I'm not sure. I suppose there must be more of them in the base or back on the ship. For all I know, there could be more of them out in space, other survivors of the colony.
You said the Zenith's colony in the Sirius system was destroyed. What happened?
All I was ever told was that a natural disaster forced them to leave Sirius. I've speculated that it was an extrasolar object or cataclysmic seismic event. Or maybe even an abnormally violent coronal mass ejection from Sirius A.
The Zeniths never told you any details.
They said the only thing that mattered was that they survived. First Earth, 1,000 years ago, and then Sirius.
Guess they survived old age, too. Alright, I think that's enough for now. Do you want to come upstairs, or...?
So how long? You know, your plan. How long before Gaius fabricated a machine army to defeat the Zeniths?
How did you know?
Optimal strategy, so?
Well, I still have to get 2 more subordinate functions before Guy is powerful enough to absorb Hephaestus.
What? You don't have Hephaestus already?
Guy is still figuring out how to capture it. It's not confined to a single location, of course not!
Okay,
Even
calm
if the Zeniths
down.
really are.
You were supposed to be further along by now!
Coming here was a mistake. They're gonna find me. They're gonna find this place and take me back. This was all for nothing.
They're not going to find us. Guy is using Minerva to mask our location.
What difference does it make? You're too far behind. We're never going to beat them. Everything. Everyone. They're gonna die.
Hey! Calm down. You're here now, right? So is there anything you can do to help?
I have certain knowledge sets. And given your state of progress, expertise you probably lack. Geoengineering, of course. Computer science, physics, biology, chemistry.
Okay. Well, see if you can do something with that. Talk to Gaia. I'll check on you later.
Gee.
How'd it go?
Her injury's not that bad, but I think she regrets coming here. Feeling might be mutual.
I'll come back later and talk to her. See if I can learn anything.
I should get the weapon fragment to Gaia.
Yeah, she's basically like a neglected, solitary, abused child. Yep.
Is it me, or do the old ones just look funny?
Funny how?
Yeah, they're close.
Welcome back. Aloy, I see we have a new guest. So now we know the origin of the transmission.
Yeah. I also recovered this. The weapon it was part of somehow stripped a Zenith of its shield.
The
but it
disco ball.
malfunctioned and blew up. If we can recreate the weapon and improve it, maybe we'll gain the upper hand on the Zeniths.
A moment, I will scan it. Complete. By combining the results with data from your focus, I can infer that the weapon was highly advanced, comparable to Zenith technology, but not how it worked.
Did the explosion corrupt the data?
It was only a catalyst. The moment the weapon malfunctioned, it appears a command executed to purge all data within its core. Ostensibly, this was to prevent the weapon's secrets from falling into enemy hands.
Go fucking figure.
Whoever designed this weapon knew how to cover their tracks.
Silence.
Based on
Yeah.
your data on him, that is my conclusion as well.
And he's not gonna cooperate with us. Well, it was worth a shot. But that's not all. The Zeniths got Eleuthia, along with Artemis and Apollo.
That is unfortunate. However, our original plan remains unchanged. The 2 remaining subordinate functions should increase my heuristic processing density enough to absorb Hephaestus.
Right. One problem at a time. Well, I guess I better get back out there.
I wish you luck on your search.
Right. Thanks, Gaia. So I guess we won't be making use of Sylens' weapon. And now there is another clone of Elizabeth here with us. But I can't let it distract me. I still have 2 more subfunctions to get. Hey, Gaia. I'm back.
So I see what is on your mind.
So, I guess Beta's here to stay. I gave her a focus. Told her to talk to you to see if she can help. She's... not what I expected.
What were you expecting?
I don't know. Someone more helpful, I guess. And less pessimistic.
It is true, she overestimated our progress. However, it is also worth noting that her confidence in your abilities emboldened her to escape the Zeniths.
I guess so.
Give her time. She may yet come around.
Mm-hmm.
How's Kotallo doing?
I have detected that the loss of his arm still deeply pains him. In an effort to remedy this, I have discussed a potential solution with him. I believe he will want to fill you in on the details.
A solution? I'll check in with him when I can, then. How are things around here?
Zoe has been studying the morphology of her land gods in an effort to understand their sickness. Without the abilities of Hephaestus, I am unfortunately unable to correct their programming. However, Zoe and I are hopeful we will find an alternative way to heal them.
Well, keep at it. Varl and Zoe seem to like spending time together.
Indeed. While studying Old World data, Zoe discovered references to a dietary lifestyle known as vegetarianism. She appreciated the similarities with Utaru practices and encouraged Varl to try out this lifestyle.
And how did that go?
I believe they have agreed to disagree.
How's Erend handling things?
He is becoming increasingly accustomed to use of the focus, after an initial incident.
What did he do?
He unfortunately crushed his first focus as he attempted to affix it to his temple. Amongst a number of Oseram curses, I believe he also blamed the focus for being dainty. He has given repeated assurances that it will not happen again.
Well, good thing we have a lot of extras, I guess. So this facility, the Regional Control Center, it was meant to oversee the terraforming system?
For the local region, yes. Had humans received their education from the Apollo database, they would have then been guided here to assume operation. As that never happened, this place remained vacant.
Until Minerva decided to settle here. So I guess this room was meant to keep an eye on conditions outside?
Yes. From here, the facility's operators would have been able to observe weather and machine activity in real time. It may be possible to restore more of this room's functionality, should you find and reconnect additional camera feeds.
I'll keep a lookout. So the Hades Proving Lab, where I found the Gaia kernel, it used to be a Pharaoh research facility?
Yes. Prior to appropriation by Zero Dawn, the facility was used to engineer and test advanced computer viruses. It appears to have been one of many research initiatives by Pharaoh Automated Solutions.
I guess it wasn't enough to build automated killing machines. He wanted viruses to infect them with too. So, a while back, before the battle at Meridian, I went into Banuk territory, I discovered another AI there. One not related to Zero Dawn. Cyan. It was created to oversee operations for a volcanic stabilization project, and it spent the last 1,000 years in isolation. I'm guessing you didn't know about it?
No. From the data on your focus, it seems that Cyan was cut off from the outside world. An effort by its creators to protect it from the Pharaoh Plague.
Any chance it could help us now?
I have already attempted contact, with no success. Given its previous experience with accepting an outside network request, I imagine it is unwilling to do so again.
Right. Because last time Hephaestus enslaved it. Well, that's too bad. I think the two of you would have had a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
There was an ancient tank embedded in the bulwark, buried under a bunch of boulders. Any idea how it got there?
During the Pharaoh Plague, the US military resumed the use of human combatants, as automated machinery was unreliable. It is possible the vehicle was part of a pre-automated war fleet.
So they fought against the Pharaoh machines in the valley, until the mountain was blasted apart and buried them.
Yep.
When we were at the facility where we found Beta, there were records that said Far Zenith were researching embryogenesis. I know they traded their ectogenic chambers to Zero Dawn, but why were they researching it in the first place?
At this point, we can only speculate. Perhaps at one time they meant the Odyssey to be a colony ship, necessitating such technology. As their goals evolved over time, so did their areas of research.
So they got more selfish as the risks of staying on Earth kept rising. So, Project Zero Dawn. The greatest minds in the world, all working to build the terraforming system while the Pharaoh Plague devoured the planet. What was it like?
Personnel worked in rotations, at all hours of the day. Resources and technology were secured from across the world. Within a month of the project's conception, I was launched and began my education. Elizabeth encouraged me to spend time with the rest of the Zero Dawn staff. She said it was important to experience many personalities and perspectives to aid in my emotional development.
What were they like?
Scared, hopeful, determined. They were hurtling toward technological achievements on a scale never before attempted. I owe everything to their dedication.
Gaia? What was Elizabeth like?
Her presence is interwoven with my memories. The moment I came online, she was there. We exchanged greetings, names, then set to our task. It was the first of many conversations. I enjoyed being in her company, listening to her stories. She was my creator, my guide.
Your friend.
Yes. When I reviewed the data on your focus, I was saddened to learn of her fate, though I am glad she made it home. I deeply wish she did not have to be alone.
She was okay with that. She gave all of herself. The only one who could. Thanks, Gaia. So from what Beta told me, I guess we can assume the Zenith's technology is powerful in all sorts of ways, right?
Yes. As your encounters with them amply demonstrate, they appear to make extensive use of robotic servitors. Further, they seem to be equipped with some kind of protective energy field that shields them from harm.
They seemed indestructible, but that weapon the rebels used stripped their shield somehow.
Throughout history, every defensive technology has eventually been defeated by an offensive counterpart. While we lack the anti-shielding weapon, were I to absorb Hephaestus and utilize it to create a large force of combat machines, no shielding could withstand such an assault indefinitely.
So there's hope.
Always.
The extinction signal didn't just wake Hades. It made every subordinate function self-aware. Why?
I have wondered this myself. So far as I can tell, Hades was the sole target, and the partial sentience imparted to other subordinate functions was incidental.
A signal that precise would require thorough knowledge of the system. How could the Zeniths know that?
From the records on your focus, it appears Far Zenith had an informant during the development of Zero Dawn.
Hank Shaw. He was supposed to steal a copy of the system for Far Zenith, but Elizabeth and Travis Tate caught him first.
Yes. It is likely Far Zenith acquired knowledge on the systems designed through him, despite his failure.
Beta believes the Zeniths want to use the terraforming system to wipe out life on Earth. Start over, so they can build it how they want.
Further supporting our hypothesis.
But why? Given their technology, they could wipe out the tribes of the world by easier means. And if they're the same people who left Earth 1,000 years ago, wouldn't they want the biosphere to be as it was?
It is likely they adjusted to different planetary conditions in their colony on Sirius. They may be trying to recreate that environment here.
Turning Earth into a new Sirius. Their own personal playground. So the Zeniths are the same people who left Earth. Physically immortal. How'd they figure it out?
From what we know of Far Zenith, it is plausible that prominent geneticists and engineers were offered a place aboard the Odyssey in exchange for their expertise. Given enough time, technology, and resources, any challenge can be overcome.
Like how Minerva eventually generated the deactivation codes for the Pharaoh Plague.
Exactly.
The Zeniths. Gerard, Eric, Tilda, Verbena. Beta said they were some of the most powerful people on Earth. Do you know anything about them?
Unfortunately, no. My personal database is limited to those who worked on Zero Dawn. Additionally, it appears Far Zenith was quite secretive about their members. Only one, Oswald Dalgard, was ever publicly known.
Right. He was the spokesperson back at their old launch facility.
What we can conclude from your and Beta's experiences is that the Zeniths are ruthless in pursuit of their goal. To protect life on Earth, they must be stopped.
Pretty sure I've heard.
You mentioned that the superstorms have subsided. Is that Ether at work?
Yes. Thanks to Ether's capabilities, weather patterns in the local region should mostly stabilize for the time being.
That'll be a relief for the Tenakth. One of their villages is still recovering after a mudslide caused the whole place to flood.
I will continue to stabilize the atmosphere for as long as I can.
Why did Ether take up residence in an ancient war museum?
As with the other subordinate functions, Ether needed to install itself on a processor with adequate storage and power. The one in the museum appears to have been sufficient, given that the holographic displays were still active.
So Ether was assured it could stay for as long as it needed to.
Correct. Though it is curious that it chose a place surrounded with the ancient ruins of aircraft.
Maybe it also felt at home there. So, once Hephaestus has been recovered and merged, you'll regain the capacity to mass-produce machines at cauldrons around the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to program their behavioral routine.
Yeah, we've seen
So
this.
you could build an army of machines. Attack the Zeniths and take them out.
It is in my nature to take any and all necessary human life above all. So yes, once I have been, I could design, build, and given the nature of the foe. I must admit, however, that I have misgiving no matter how aggressive the enemy.
That's good.
Indeed.
Yep, that's the same conversation.
The missing subordinate functions. What can you tell me about them?
Artemis rewilded the Earth with a variety. Eleuthia was responsible for gestating, nurturing, and acculturating a new generation of. Apollo was tasked in disseminating.
Yep,
Unfortunate. All archive.
Pharaoh, huh? I really...
Yeah,
Understand. He appears.
All three of the missing functions have already served their purpose or were prevented from... Do you still need them?
Restoring their empowering my. Unfortunately, attaining them in the.
I guess our best... But we'll need Hephaestus and a bunch of...
Correct.
So, Poseidon. What do we know about it?
Poseidon controls the organic and chemical composition of water resources. Once it is restored to me, I may be able to improve conditions in the regional watershed. But I must warn you, like the others, Poseidon is lost and frightened. It may have taken measures to protect itself.
I'll be careful. What can you tell me about Demeter?
Demeter sows, fertilizes, and tends to plant life.
So once I bring it back, all the blight out there will start to get better.
While permanent restoration requires the abilities of Hephaestus, I may be able to improve conditions in the region for a while. However, a word of warning. Like Ether and Poseidon, Demeter's response to my query was highly irregular. Alone and frightened, it may have taken measures to assure its security.
Okay, I'll keep my guard up. See you later, Gaia.
Until next time, Aloy.
Okay, that's all the talk. You know what? Let's go ahead and do some of this. There we go.
It's a little loud, Aaron.
I know. It makes you want to punch something.
More like someone.
Oh, you're the one that helped me find it.
People make mistakes.
What? He likes fucking rock metal music. It's funny. Alright, what does she want?
There is something I'd like to discuss. It's about the land gods. If you have time, that is.
You said you wanted to talk about the land gods?
I think there's a way to heal them so that they'll once again provide Plainsong with grain. Gaia gave me a set of instructions. She called it, reboot code. If we deliver it to the land gods, their derangement will end.
That's great.
Maybe. There are thorns on the path. Unless the code is given by Hephaestus, the land gods will reject it. Gaia showed me a way around this. We need components called control cores, from machines made by Hephaestus. Machines similar to the land gods.
You mean Grimhorns? Like the one we fought in the repair bay?
Yes. Gaia helped me locate 2 of them out west.
So, kill the machines, get the control cores, then use them to adapt the reboot code into something the land gods will obey?
If all goes well. But taking down 2 Grimhorns won't be easy.
We'll do it together.
Bless you, Aloy. I'll send you the location of the machines.
I'll let you know when I get close to those Grimhorns.
Good. If we can get their control cores, maybe we really can heal the land gods.
Okay, now there's those 2. I've got few side missions. Alright, well. Seems like a good place as any to stop for the evening. Because it is getting to be really, really late. And we'll just have to pick this up with more things tomorrow. So, nighty-night, everybody.